Okay, then good. So we're recording right now, Yelena.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We are going to start the Today Help session. Um, so, as you heard already, there is a usual change which happened to happen today to the interface of the services we are using of DB2. And that is not major change. Let's make this clear. That is something usual, so we will be working as usual. So I want to start this by saying that this is one of the most exciting and of course is difficult assignment. It's, it's not to say it's the most difficult, but it's really true data science assignment in which we integrate many different things all together to solve a problem. And the problem you're solving is very relevant problem today or in any corner of our society, which is to understand sentiment in natural language. So you understand that to solve this kind of problem, you will have to bring together the text analysis you start studying since 6:30, but then evolving to a more specific task, which is understanding of natural language processing. And it's not just understanding of natural language processing, it's understanding very specific part of natural language, which is sentiment, how the sentiment are expressed in the natural language. So it's not just simple natural language understanding. You understand that in this application area, enter in play linguistic and many other disciplines. So this is by one hand, what is natural language understanding to perform sentiment analysis. On the other hand, you will need specific technology which will permit you to do this analysis. And fortunately, we have access to something really beautiful which integrate several things all together, which is DB2, but which is not just a simple database. It integrates many things all together in which you can do, you have the our environment, you have a SQL possibility to analyze data, and of course, DB2 as a database, you can start the problem since the beginning, loading the data, and then checking for metadata, using SQL to analyze data, and the very important thing, analyzing data in R. And all this in integrated cloud environment, which is integrated services in DB2. So just few words, you have something in the classroom in the reading, but I want to point out how important is this technology. IBM has this in memory analytic, other cloud provider like AWS, and they have also similar services, just each one is proprietary. DB2 is based in a technology which is named Blue, which is totally IBM technology, very advanced, and is how to do in memory analytic with in very sort of very, let's say, advanced way. That doesn't mean you have to have all the data in memory because it's very expensive. You understand, when you hear in memory analytic, you just think, oh, big data, and I will have all this data in memory. Can you understand how expensive this will be? So here we are talking about very efficient technology which works like in memory, but you actually don't have all the data physically in memory. You just have these different techniques from computer science, like prefetching, and you in order to gain speed in processing data, you have batch of data and you select which data will be loaded next. So you use node compression, and you can skip several portion of data. So very intelligent way to deal with the data which already is available and process them in memory. Why processing in memory is important for tasks like sentiment analysis? Because many applications require this sentiment analysis right away in real time. So building this, let's say, solving a problem of sentiment analysis with the technology we have access, which is DB2, with all the integrated SQL and RStudio and all the predictive modeling algorithm built in, which are decision tree, term association analysis, you name it. So you will have the possibility to explore several of them to solve the problem and make recommendation like this. You can feel even if it's only 3-week project, this is just like involvement of many things you already have studied, putting them together to solve a very practical and important problem. Just because it's 3 weeks, you have to think, is possible to do it in 3 weeks? Because you already have gained knowledge in many of the predictive algorithms in RStudio, just you're going to work in different environments. So having said that, you understand that we are going to deal with complex way to solve a complex problem. And everything is very well detailed. And if you do the reading and follow the instruction, at the end of the day, you will gain very valuable experience. Of course, it's challenging doing this in 3 weeks, but this is the classes we are doing here in this program, very intense classes, 6 credit classes, and there is no other way to do it. At the end of the day, you will be glad you do it. I know it's going to be difficult, just that's why we are doing this help session. Elena is going to go to specific detail, which are very helpful. And as we learn, there is change in the interface. She will try to face all these changes as much as possible today. And if needed, we will send additional clarification after this session. Elena, with no more, I don't want to steal more time because time is precious.
And Linesh, could you ask you for a favor while I'm speaking about this? Do me a big huge favor. Go to your account, add a new DB2, and see where the host is. Okay, please do that for me.
I just did that, Mirna. So while we
Yeah, please
started this
find the
session.
location. Yes, find the location of the host because I don't see where that is. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just
Anyhow,
checking the credentials right now as we speak. So I just added the service.
please, I would appreciate it. Okay, so here
Thank
is
you.
sync, and this is just a quick reminder on where to post your questions. So somebody told me earlier that they were not aware where to post the how to questions, like how do I do this in SQL, how do I do this in our Salesforce, please, okay? All of that goes to Salesforce. Any R questions, any SQL, because, well, the answers are probably in light of what you already have in your code. And well, especially if it's assignment 3, we cannot discuss the graded part of the code in the classroom, okay? So that's a rule, we have to comply with it. Now there are some additional rules to comply with. You do not submit any IBM tickets unless you're instructed to do so. Do not cancel your account, please. And then this is important, I don't want anybody to install any R packages. Please don't do that, okay? Then do not open the application in multiple tabs, right? Then you want to avoid stopping the data load process, like while data load is running, please don't cancel it because you're gonna end up in other issues. You end up creating more processes on the back end, and you don't want that. Okay, now remember this. Somebody already does this. Your SQL code, please do not post it in Word because Word introduces some odd characters, and there is no way to fix your code except for rewriting. Another thing is that I would recommend that you save all your code locally. Like this is what I did for days. So this is a sequel that I was gonna go through. I saved it on my local PC. So the only difference that I would have to do is probably if I'm going to run on a new service copy, I will just need to change the username, okay, for some of the metadata queries. But what I want you to do is I want you to save all the codes that you're running, right? Save a copy on your local PC besides the copy on your in your service, right? Well, the big picture for this assignment is this. You have a CSV file that you're gonna save from the classroom. You're gonna upload the CSV file on the DB2 database. You're gonna check the log, right, to make sure there are no errors and no warning. Then you're gonna check the table metadata. You're gonna use SQL to analyze your data. Then you're gonna load the data into R environment. You're gonna analyze in R and you're gonna interpret your findings, right? So Elena already explained what the DB2 on cloud is, right? I'm gonna skip that. And here are the analysis that you can do. Trend analysis, term association rules, decision tree, k-means, network of terms. But what I was prepared to do is that you have a code in the R code. There is a code for the network of terms. And especially if you are using network of terms method for the assignment 3, what I wanted you to do is this. I wanted to go to here in one of the slides, this slide. This should work. What I want you to do is to take this code here. Well, you want to take the code that is in Spark tutorial. Well, I'm not Spark, sentiment analysis tutorial assignment. There is an R code, right? Add this piece and this piece at the end of that code. Add this in the R script, right? You have an R script. At the end of the script, please add these 4 lines, okay? If you're using the network of terms, this is additional line of code. So what it's doing is that it's gonna look at the subset of terms, right? So that's what it's gonna add this code, okay? We'll be walking through. Yes, yes, we're going to be walking through. Absolutely, yes. But first of all, before I do that, there are a few things to tell. Well, okay, we will go through what's in the cloud, yes. But uh, right now, Linish is doing some research to see where the host name is. We are handling the best we can. But while he's doing it, I'm just showing you that what you can do. First, I start with the big picture. There are several methods that you can run, right? You have a code, you have a copy of the script, right? And the script is still the same script, regardless of the interface. The code is still the same code, right? Oops, where is it? I have it open. Oh, here is an R Studio, right? This is the code that you got, except for you don't have the service, right? When you run this code, you're gonna go at the end and add some stuff. Well, not this. But what you're gonna do is you have a code, right? And you're gonna go at the end of the code, right? You're gonna add your code ends like this, like here, right? So this is what you have. You have it up to here, right? So what you're gonna do right now, I'm just saying that you take this code, take the code that I gave you, right? That is in a folder, and take the code from this slide and use it. Because if you're doing the network of terms, you want to do more than just network visualization. You want to look at the subsets of terms, okay? So this is what I was telling you. If you are doing the network of terms method for assignment 3, you want to make sure that you're also looking at the subsets of terms, not just at the whole network as a whole, okay? You want to do a little bit more than what is in your code right now. Your code that you have right now, hopefully, all of you, if you already added the service, right, you should have run the code that was given to you by now, right? And what you will see is the airline sentiment data, right? The data itself, it has the column, the sentiment of the post, and it also has a column called negative reason, right? But it does not have a positive reason. From that data, we cannot tell why people like the airline service, right? So what I'm doing in here in the code that is given to you, in this code that is given to you, it's analyzing it's pulling the positive feedback from the data, right? It's taking the positive feedback and it's doing this graph, right? It's doing some data pre-processing, like removing the special characters, etc. And in here, it's going to produce this plot, right? And it's looking at different layouts. But how are you going to interpret it, right? So you have to have a way to look at the groups of terms, right? And I just gave you the code. I just made the gift. I gave you that stuff to add, right? So it's going to show up in the plots. After you run the script, well, if I run this here, it runs. But this is the connection to the old version of the service, okay? So this still works. And I was looking at the Catherine tickets, and then I went in and I tested, what's going on? I'm able to connect. But then I went in and added a new instance of the software of the DB2. So, well, sorry if I'm ending up jumping back and forth today, but oops, this is a new interface. So basically what's changed is this. So this is what you're gonna see. When you launch the service, right? Well, there is no launch console or whatever that was. There is a button, go to UI. So you're gonna do go to UI, right? And right now, where I am, I'm right now at the IBM, I'm in IBM cloud, right? Because it's the same software, you can access it from the data platform, right? Or which is Cloud Pack, or you can also access it from the IBM cloud, but you cannot do the credential part. You cannot do the credential part when you're on a data, when you're in a Cloud Pack, right? So let's see what is here. Okay, it's not in here. Okay, no. Okay, so this is you're gonna go in here. Well, like exactly like what I did. You're gonna do new credentials, right? But I do see now that credentials are different, and I do see it now. And I don't see the host name in here. I agree with you.
There is a host name, like if you go into, there's a segment of host right there at the
Where
bottom of your screen. You see the host.
where
You went too fast. You went too fast. Just scroll up a little bit. Yeah,
uh-huh
hold right in the middle of the screen. There's
where?
this host. Right, go below. Go below. Keep going down. Yes. One more.
Oh, but
Yes.
this one,
Identifier, yeah,
this.
yes.
Okay, okay. So it's this, okay, but what people are saying is that, oh, because look at this, it's a different port. Oh, yeah, that's why. That's
Right.
why it's not because you have to change the port too. I see it now. So because if I go to my R code, let's say let's look at this. This is R, right? Look at this. You have to change the port, guys, because it's no longer 5000, right? See this? It's if you're looking at this sync here in the credentials, right? Oops, is this a new one? Yes, they have it open twice probably. But if you look at it here, see guys, this is another update you would have to make. You would have to change the port. See, it was not in the instructions because and you still got an error? Okay. Well, yes. Are we gonna check it? What happens? So you change the port, you still got an error, but then we need to check other parameters in there. We have to check other stuff, not just this. We have to make sure the database matches. There are several, but the reason why it was hard coded because those values were for the see this. We have to check the DNS database. We have to check the DNS driver. We have to check all of this too. The protocols, there are several things to check. So we'll take care of it. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and let's see how to use this new interface to load data. I was not going to show you how to load data today, but things change and usually I'm good at adjusting based on the situation. So let's do this. You're gonna click on go to UI, right? And I already have it. Let's close this. I don't want to have multiple copies open. I click, and what is that? Oh, that's the old service. Okay, now we're gonna click on go to UI now. It's different right now. Well, but oh, what's that? It worked before, I swear. Okay, now it will work. Okay, now. Well, what you see different is now it's taking me to the overview page. Okay, no problem, right? Okay, no worries. So this is probably going to show you how much storage you're using, not a big deal. Now, this is where you're going to run the queries, right? Now I'm looking at this. This is called data. Guess what it is? This is where we're going to load data. Do you see this? Load history, right? I mean, see this? Load data, load history. So I think we're going to load this in here, right? So I'm going to go try browse data and bear with me. Oops. Oh, what's going on? Oh, now I see what's going on. Now it's like this. Guys, you know what? We say bad things. All bad things happen at once. You know, it will never happen in isolation. Three things.
That's Murphy's Law at its work, Yana.
Huh?
Happens when it comes to demos.
Yes, and you remember the demo, Linesh, we had live, right? Oh, okay. So here we go. This is airline data, and I also was going to load the hotel data. So the hotel data was in a sprint folder, guys. So I know that well, sometimes bad days have a happy end, right? So let's say it this way. So this is a hotel data that I was gonna do for the queries. Okay, now see this. So I selected the file. Now I'm gonna click on next, right? Okay, so this is my schema apparently, right? And I'm gonna do this new table, and I'm gonna call it hotel review, right? Hotel underscore review. This is what I called it in my code, right? Because I saved the copy of the code locally. So I want to make sure that I'm calling it the same name as it's in here, hotel review, right? So that's the same name. Oops. Now I lost. Oh, here we go. Right. So this is a new table. New, oh, here it is. Right. So I'm gonna click create. Right. So the steps are the same. Do you see the source target? Everything is the same. It's just a new interface. But please pay close attention, right? So this is the same screen, right? This is the same screen where I see all my fields, right? And I should see all my fields and etc. Okay. Those are the fields in the hotel review table, all right? And the reason I picked this data because I wanted to show you the missing values concept. Okay, now let's go next. Well, do you see that it's the same thing? Begin load, same thing, different day. Okay, do you see this? But this actually, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like this interface better. What is it doing? Okay, hold on. It's still loading. Sometimes the errors could be false positive. So let's see. It's still loading data. Let's hope it works. It should. Well, it's still loading. See this? So now you make sure that you don't stop the load, okay? So while this is doing it, we're gonna go back to slides. We can't afford to lose any time, right? In this situation. So, and this was based on a past interface. This was the troubleshooting. One of your classmates did not see the credentials page. It's because the service was opened in a Cloud Pack. Let's go back. Well, it's still loading. Not sure what's going on. It should not be taking that long, so let me see. Don't do what I'm just doing. Okay. Yep. Bad things don't happen at once, so let's go ahead. Let's do this. I remove this. I remove this. So now I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do something different now. Let's see if it loads. Ooh, yuck. Okay, so now I don't have any tables, right? I don't have anything, so we're gonna try again. Something happened and I don't know. Oh, look at this. Oh, okay. So things did not go as expected, right? Did it load the data? Maybe it actually did, no. Okay, this is what you're gonna do. Things did not go as expected. The table did not load as expected. This is what you're gonna do to remove the table, if you will. See this, I go to tables, I see this, right? And to remove the tables, I just do drop. This will remove the table from the system, okay? Okay, so I just deleted it. Let's try to load, let's see if airline data works. I'm gonna go browse files, right? And this is, let's look at this one here. Oops, somewhat. Okay, this is airline sentiment data. Let's see. I want to make sure that I'm able to do that at least. Next. Okay, this is a schema. And then I'm gonna say the new table, and I'm gonna call it airline sentiment, right? I don't know what went wrong, but let's forget about it. Let's do this first. But now you saw what to do when something went wrong, right? Now I cannot type. Okay, sin. But it happened before when we did the live demo. What happened was the system, the service went down, but I had a copy of the output, so we were good. So I'm gonna go create, and I'm gonna hit next. Okay, that's it, and I'm gonna do again next. One thing is important is that to make sure that you did not open the file. The file cannot be opened before you load it. So there we go. Load in progress. See this? So this is working as expected. Okay, so when you load airline sentiment, this is what you see. But for unknown reasons, there are warnings. There were no warnings in the old system, but okay, you can ignore this warning, okay? Let's do it this way. This is just a warning, and it just does not like some of the characters. Okay. Okay, but let's say it this way. The data got loaded, right? 0 rows rejected. You might see some data that you don't expect, but for right now, let's just see. Let's just see what happens. Well, it's giving me a warning. It did not like something, but let's see, view table. Let's see if it actually loaded something that I can work with. Okay, so it loaded something that you can work with, which is good. Okay, it's something that you can work with. So what I know now is that more or less in the new interface, I can load my data, right? Airline sentiment. So let's go ahead, let's try to see what we can do about the R. Okay, well, let's look at this Credential Sync page here. Well, because to test it, we had to have some data, right? How else are you gonna test if the connection works, right? So, well, where is the service credentials? Okay, now I'm gonna try that. Let's see, where is the host thing? Host. Hold on, Linesh, you saw it somewhere.
Yeah, right in the middle of your screen. Yep, right there.
This one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna take this Control C. I'm gonna take the to the here. So this is a new host name. Okay. Control V. Now, and we have to look at the port, right? So here is my port, right? So now you guys get to see how initially things were figured out a long time ago. Okay, so this is the port, right? Now we need to figure out the protocol and also the driver, right? So let's go back in here. Oh, it gets closed, right? Okay. So
Yeah,
do
that
you see?
happens. As soon as you change the screen, it
Yes.
closes.
I'm trying to get the, okay. So I got the port. Oh, here, this is host. What else? Where is it? The Linesh, where is it? Do you see the port?
The port was
Well,
right
this is a
there,
port, but you
327.
you need to get this, right?
The
This?
database, yeah, that's in lowercase. So
Ah, okay, in lowercase. And what else is in there? You tell me, because, okay, it's in here, right? And what about the driver?
I would just set it to what the database is, just set it to lowercase.
Okay, and what about the protocol? And I'll change the password. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, it closes. It's kind of like hard to. Yeah, I'm wondering which host should we put root or should we put, hold on. Okay. So, Linesh, could you find it for me, please? So this is a username. I see that, see this? And then I have to
Yeah,
take the
just
password.
change the username password. I'm checking the
Yes.
host. I mean, sorry, not the host, but the protocol.
Username, yes. And then we're gonna do the password. Okay, so this is a password. We will figure it out. Oh, what is this type CLI? I don't know what that is. So this is a curveball. But you're gonna see this happen at work, guys, too, so. Well, okay, let me see what happens now. Driver. Oh, mm, mm, mm. Fingers crossed. Yes, something is wrong. Linesh, it's probably the driver. Oh, the driver is CLI. I think, well, CLI driver. Yes, the driver is wrong. Yeah, that was a surprise,
Yeah,
but I'm so glad that somebody submitted the case because I would be going with old stuff. Linesh, could you find the driver for me, please?
yeah, the driver and also the protocol. The protocol
Yes.
isn't listed here at all. So that's what I'm checking. What do we need to really include the protocol at all?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I see several hosting here. That's a problem, Linesh. Several ports. What is a type? Yeah, so I see. Okay, let me see. Guys, if you can find it, it is the same error that you receive. Oh, thank you. No, because the thing is, yes, exactly. I was not sure what was going on because yesterday it was the same as in instructions. And the people who started working in the assignment can concur this, right? So what I was gonna do is, oh, what is the CLI? Maybe it's a CLI. Copy. Let's take that and let's do this. New. See, so this is guys not easy. I'm telling you. So okay, so this is copy. So one of us has to figure out how to. I thought it would be just that. So see, this is a port I use. This is a host, right? Guys, this is what you did. Tell me. And see, this is a pass now. Would GB. Tell me what you guys did. Yep. Okay. Thank you. And what else did you do, Catherine? You need to tell me what you did and what you did not. So that way it will be good. Oh, what is that method direct? That's not it, right? Type CLI direct. I could try that. See, we have to, this is a matter of trial and error, but I don't know. Change host and port used to your password. Did not try changing any other. So we changed the port, okay? We change host, but what we don't know is this. We don't know the driver and we don't know the protocol, but this is what I can do this here. I can go into my here and I can see if I can find it in here. See this? So now let's see what we have. This is a load data. This is a load history. So if you forgot to take a screenshot, this is where you can go in and still open it and take a screenshot, right? So this is a load detail screenshot. What else do we have in here? Oh wait, this is not the connections. Nope. This is not the storage, but it should be. Oh boy. Guys, but thank you so much for letting me know. But I wish that was discovered yesterday or something like that. But you know, no problem. We will figure it out together. Okay, now database name is here. Look at it, Unesh. Look at this connection configuration.
Yeah,
Could be
it's
this. Let's
lowercase.
try
The
this.
database name is definitely confirmed. It doesn't say the driver and that the protocol.
But let's see what I have in here. I want to make sure I get this right. Okay. Okay. Maybe we don't. Let's see. Well, so this is a drive. It maybe we don't need this. I don't know, Linesh. Let's see. Driver. Oops. Now I lost where I was. Okay. Well. Oh, she's a SSL. Ooh. Yes. Okay. What else is in here? With SSL. Yes, but where is it? It used to be. Okay. 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 So I'm gonna try it again now and see. Oh, this is a GB. Username is this. Okay.
Let's try without the driver and without the
Okay.
driver and the whole and the protocol type in that connection path string.
Okay. And without the driver? Oh,
Yes.
but this is how are you gonna do without the driver? You can. You cannot. Unless you cannot.
Okay.
Let's try like this.
Checking with the driver here. What driver would you then apply here? That would be probably the same as the database, or you can change that to our uppercase BLUDB that was there before, just to
Huh?
keep things. Just that driver would be an uppercase as it was earlier.
And what about the protocol?
Yeah, protocol isn't mentioned there anywhere in the credentials.
Okay, so I remove. Oops, it's like this. Okay, let's try it now. And then this work. Sorry. Yeah, we need the driver, and this is CL. See this? It's different. You
Oh,
need the
it's just
CL driver.
CLE, the CLE driver. So CLI,
Yeah.
sorry, CLI. If you go back in the credentials, there was a mention of CLI
Where?
in the service credentials.
Okay. What is? Username. Yeah, but port now changed. Couldn't get in. Yes, that's right. But they changed the port. So I mean we cannot. And I copied the credentials here. No. But we need the driver. Do you have a driver? Yes. Yes. Yes, this will be posted later, but we need to figure out. We can't post it until we know what to post,
So I'm
right?
looking at the document and the link that someone just sent here. Jacob sent a link there in the chat room.
Oh, okay.
Yelena. If you click on that, it
But
gives
would
you
you mind
what's
to look
the
at it
required
because
pieces.
huh?
If you click on the link in the chat room that Jacob's just sent out to
Yeah, but now I
everyone.
have to open this. Is that the thing?
No. Forget what you have right now. Just don't go on the R Studio. Click on the link
I
there.
know. I have the chat open on top. You can see the chat windows that I have open. Yes.
Oh, okay, got you.
Oh, they changed it now. Okay, gotcha. Okay. 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 And driver is this, and the protocol is still this. The protocol is still TCP/IP. Okay. You cannot remove this. But why it would not? You cannot remove, right? So what is wrong? Oh, but see this, it says five, it still says different ports. See this? That's a problem.
It also says use 50,001 if using SSL. So maybe we can try
I'm
the
not using SSL. Okay, cool.
yeah, if 50,001 if using SSL. So probably what we just saw, it's using SSL. We can try that 50,001.
Okay. Tell me what's it? Five. Tell me. 5.
Yeah, it's 5000, one more zero and one.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Oh wait, not yet. Not yet. Now it's doing something different.
Yeah, it's
I'm
doing
no longer
something.
seeing an error.
Yeah, but it hasn't completed yet. So fingers crossed.
The error is gone at least, but I don't know what it's doing. Hold on. See something in the chat. Oh, well, but the thing is, I don't know why it's doing this right now. It's one thing after the other, right, Lanesh? When I tried with the port, it took 5 minutes to run. That eventually failed. Oh, okay. So you tried 530. Okay. Is it correct? 5301. Okay. We'll figure it out. Same as cat using 530s. Okay. Don't do what I just did. Well, but you know what? They say sometimes a bad day has a happy end. It's gonna be a good end to this stuff. Come on. So, see, I can't even stop it now. How do you see? I never have to do this. How do you stop the existing running command? Because I stopped this. I thought scissors. I tried to stop it and it would not. So don't stop things, guys. Trust me.
Yeah, sometimes it takes time to kill a process. Oh, okay, there you go.
Oh, what? It did not kill. I did not
Oh,
kill it.
okay.
Nope.
Go without saving. Go without saving if you can.
Okay.
I know we'll have to copy paste it again, or do one before you do that. Just copy paste it into a notepad or somewhere so that we can just copy paste it back here in the R code.
I did not know that this would turn into a troubleshooting session. Guys, it's okay. I did today something that I told you not to do, guys. So please do not follow bad examples that you saw here. Yes, you're gonna kill the environment, that's right. Okay, while this is loading, there are things that I wanted to show you. Okay, there are things that I wanted to show you. Let's discuss SQL because SQL is always SQL. It does not matter, right? Because you will still have to do it. So SQL, this is the components of the SQL statement. Select from where, group by, having an order by, right? To select, you specify what you want to select. From, you specify from what table you want to select. Where shows is a condition for filtering rows, okay? Group by is a delimited list of columns that you want to group your data by, right? Having it filters a subset, it filters the groups, right? It does not filter the row, it filters individual group. And then the order by is a delimited list of columns that you use for sorting the output. Each select statement must have select and from clause. The spelling of the table names matters, right? So you want to make sure if you're getting an error, make sure that you spell the table name correctly. Otherwise, it won't know. If the table does not exist, then you know, you're not gonna get your SQL working. Then what I have in here, oops, I have some examples of the SQL that I was going to show you. Over here, I'm just selecting the column called categories, names, and review text. So this is the hotel data. I'm selecting 3 columns from the hotel data here. And then here, I have a where clause that restricts the data to the rating is neutral, right? And I'm using 2 conditions. I want to say the username, review username contains the word traveler. So this is what this query does, okay? So this is showing an example of the, you can have multiple conditions in the same where clause of a query, right? So this is a grouping column. Do you remember we had the group by? This is a little refresher from one of the past assignments where you have a grouping column, right? And this shows me how many times each hotel was mentioned. This slide is important. This one shows you the hotel name and how many times the hotel was mentioned in the post, right? So this piece is important. Now this one, it also can do this one is doing accounts for the province and the rating, and it's gonna do, see, you have 2 grouping columns here, right? 2 grouping columns. So every column that you use for grouping in a select clause must be listed in a group by clause, okay? So this is what you see here. And this is the fun part. So what I wanted to see here is that I want to see 1 line per hotel, right? 1 line per hotel. And then I want to see the counts for that specific hotel. I want to see how many positive posts, how many slightly positive, how many neutral, and how many slightly negative, right? So I want to see the single row for hotel. But the difference is here that I don't have a data like ones and zeros the way I had it for my other assignment, right? Okay. Okay. So what you saw over there is that I started going over some SQL. But something to keep in mind, because you're going to see something along that line in assignment 3, not the hotel, but something different. So here you want to have one line of output for hotel, right? And you want to have a column for positive. You want to have a column for slightly positive. And the way to do is this. And I wanted to run to actually explain, but let's see if we get to it. Okay, first thing first. So this is our studio, right? Linesh, you tell me now, which port should I use? Like this? Linesh,
Yeah, yep, I'm here. I was on
is that
mute.
correct?
The 50,001.
Oh, I have to do this first too. No, I used one before, it did not work.
Okay, then this would be the one to use.
We're stuck. Okay. It's still running? Yeah, we are stuck. Anyway, let's focus on SQL for right now, okay? Because I wanted to cover SQL. Well, okay, so this is what you're gonna do. Let me see if I can go back here and load the hotel data. So, okay. So here, look, I'm gonna go now again. I'm gonna go to load data again, and I'm gonna try to do that data. Load data. Look, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna go to load data. Come on, back. Okay, this is a load details, load data. Load more data. Okay, I'm gonna go to browse files now, and I'm gonna find my hotels again and see if it does now. You never know. You know, sometimes bad days have a happy end. So let's see. Hotel reviews, right? So this is, I'm gonna do again, all right? And this is a schema that I'm gonna use. And I'm gonna click on a new table, and I'm gonna put hotel review. Okay, I'm gonna click create, and let's see if it loads. If it does not load, then I'm gonna go to the old version of the service and show the SQL, because SQL is a SQL, okay? Uploading, see this? Looks like it's doing it now. Okay, okay. Okay, now let me go, let's do this. This is an old service, old version of the service, okay? I've got two tables here. This is a hotel review table, okay? Let me show you the SQL. Let's focus on the SQL. Okay, so now in here, this is the old interface, right? This is where run SQL is. And what I did for you, I saved this code. This is a code that I was gonna show you today, okay? So this one, select the, okay, when we talk about validating the data programmatically, you want to see the row count, right? So I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do, instead of run all, I want to do run selected. So this shows the row count, right? This one is how you check, this is the table metadata. You want to check, so see this is going to check which tables you have, right? Because this tables is a table that stores data on the tables. I'm gonna click on run selected. So see this, I have two tables in here right now. airline sentiment, and I have a hotel review. And I'll have to figure out why it's not loading in the new interface. But anyhow, so see this, I have this too, right? Now, this is another data dictionary thing. It's selecting, it's gonna show the details of the column. One thing to keep in mind is that table names are stored in the uppercase. So here it is, airline sentiment, hotel review. It's stored in the uppercase in the database, right? So that's the reason here I have to run this in the uppercase. I'm gonna do run selected, right? So here, this is an example of the where clause with two conditions that I was talking about earlier. So far, so good, right? So far, we're good. Now, distinct is gonna do, we're gonna run this query to find out what review ratings we have, right? So select distinct is gonna give us distinct list of the reviews, right? Review rating. In this data set, I have negative, neutral, positive, slightly negative, and slightly positive. Now in here, this is a query that returns how many times each candidate is mentioned. So I'm gonna just run this, right? Run selected, okay? So this is gonna tell me how many times its candidate is mentioned. Now in here, I want to, how many times its hotel is mentioned. Now I have a wrong list. Do you see this? I have 299 rows. Here, this is where the having clause comes in useful. I want to list only hotels that were mentioned 400 times or more. So this is where I use the having clause. The having clause filters out the group. So in this case, we are filtering the hotel. We are not filtering the hotel reviews. We're filtering the hotels. So this tells me how many times, right? But I only show in the ones if it's more than 400 times. Okay, now in here, this is slightly different. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna skip the missing ones. So basically, if you run that query above again, it was listing the rows, it was listing the missing ones. So let me run again, run selected. If you look through all of the output, and let me see the show more, because I think the counts included, okay. Oh, okay. So it says the rows are truncated, right? So see, this is a list, but also what I was trying to say is that there is a way that a query treats the missing values, right? So here it is. I say that where review rating is not null, because when I ran the distinct, remember there are also null. Sometimes the review rating is unknown, right? So here, if I do the select distinct, I wanted to show you this. I'm gonna do run selected, and well, in this case there are no. But if you had some unknown values in your data, right? Then you would have to figure out how you want to treat them, right? So let's see. Let's go back in here. So here I'm saying where review rating is not null. I'm just saying that, but sometimes, well, I'm just saying it just in case, because you may have, it's quite possible that you would have any rows where review rating is unknown, okay? But here, this is what it's doing, is that it's doing the counts, right? And if a rating is unknown, I want to skip it. Okay, this is how you would do it if you had missing values. Now the next thing is that how many times each sentiment is mentioned. So here I'm trying to see the counts for the sentiment, and if the value is missing, I want to treat it as unknown. Oh, wait a minute, take a look at this. Show more, come on, show more. Oh, okay, I see. Look at this, guys. It's showing me the distinct list of sentiment values. And some of the records don't have a sentiment specified, right? So in here, in this table, in this data, some of my records have unknown, have a missing sentiment values. So what I'm doing here, I have several options here. Option one add a where clause and say where review rating is not null, right? So what I could do, that's one option. I could exclude the rows with missing values. So I'm just gonna say where review rating is not null, right? This is what I'm doing. Remember that how we handle missing values? So this is one way, is not null. Another is this. I use the NVL function and I say this, look, if my value is missing, I can treat it as if it's unknown. So this is what NVL does, right? So remember that in earlier coursework, you discussed how to handle missing values. You can skip the rows with missing values, or you can treat them as a special value. So in this case, I'm just saying that if it's missing, then I'm gonna treat it as unknown, okay? And then when I glue show more, you're gonna see that, see this is unknown. This is what I'm doing because I want to see, I also want to see the counts for unknown sentiment, right? Okay, now, so this one here, this is I want to see only one rows or only one row per hotel, right? But before I did that query, this is a preparation. This is a preparation query. I want to create a column. Let's look at it this way. I'm gonna do run selected here. Look, this is what I want to do. I have a tweet in here and I have a rating, right? And I want to create a column for each sentiment. I want to do positive, slightly negative, neutral, slightly negative, and unknown. So what I want to do in here is this. If my tweet is positive, I want to set the positive to 1, right? And the rest of it are 0. If my tweet is slightly positive, I want to set the second column to 1 and the rest of the columns to 0, right? So this is the preparation. My final goal is to have one line per hotel, and I want to list how many posts have a positive sentiment, how many have negative, how many have slightly negative, and how many have unknown, right? So this is a preparation. I do this, see? When you did something similar in an early assignment, you had ungraded exercise where you did something similar. You did not need to do this step because the values were 0 and 1 already, right? But in my query here, in the select clause, I can have the calculated columns. And what I do is this, I say this, if review rating is positive, right, then 1, otherwise 0, and the column name is positive. And same thing I'm doing here, right? For the neutral, I'm doing this, right? So now, how do I know how many reviews are positive, how many is slightly negative? All I need to do is that I have to take the sum, right? So here is the query, here it comes. So you want to see the name, right? The hotel name, and then you're gonna take the sum, right? And the only thing, I had an option, I could do it as a subquery. I could take that thing and take it as a subquery, or I can just do this. I can just take sum, put the word sum around the case statement. See this? This is taking a sum, sum, and I'm grouping it by the group by name. See this? Pay close attention because the reason I wanted you to see this because this is important. Trust me, this is important. You have an ungraded exercise for the airline along this line, and there will be something in assignment 3. So, okay, so this is I do run selected, and this is what it's gonna do. It's gonna do one line per hotel, and it's gonna tell me the total, unknown. Well, so this, what I'm doing here, I'm treating the missing values as unknown, right? Okay, so this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna have to use case statement because you want to look at something like this. You got two options here. One option is that you take this and this is a subquery, right? And I'll show you the subqueries in a second. Or you can do it like this, just do sum. Okay? And so here, well, I was showing you null itself. Sometimes, well, when you do the count, right? When you do the count, it will ignore the null in general, right? If I do this, Okay, when I do this, let's do run selected. Okay, okay, so this one, I'm just counting the review rating. Let me see, let me do show more. And see this, it showed me 0. Because I'm doing, see this, when you do the count and when you specify the column name, it's gonna ignore missing values. Sorry, counting is gonna ignore missing values. On the other hand, if I did count star or count 1, right, when I do this, it's gonna show me the actual count now. It's gonna show me the actual count. Well, okay, so basically, well, see this, but if I do this, if I did count 1, rather, right? If I did count 1, then I would probably see the actual count now. Let's see, let's do run selected. Yeah, so it's a 6th row, and I'm gonna do show more. Let's see what happens. See this, it gave me the count. So the whole idea is that missing values, it could be a little bit tricky because if I put the column name in here, right, the way I had this, if I put the column name, review rating, right, then the problem is when the review rating is blank, it's not gonna give me anything, right? On the other hand, if I put count star or put count 1, it's gonna give me the count. So nulls a little bit tricky, right? Nulls in a database are a little bit tricky. You really have to understand how things get counted because count function, aggregate function ignore missing values. So if I just put column and put the column name that I want to count, I won't get anything here. So you would probably want to, you have several options. You can exclude the rows with missing value at all, or you can use the NVL function, right? Like I showed you above. Well, and this one, this is an example with 2 grouping columns. Well, you're gonna be 99.99% times correct if you put every non-aggregate column in a select clause has to go as a grouping column in the group by clause, okay? So well, then this you're gonna do run selected. And this is gonna do, well, see this is a province and this is the review rating and accounts, okay? Now, and I wanted to go over of the subqueries. No, because see the technical issues that we have now, this is an interface. Okay, that will be figured out, but what I wanted you to get out from today's session is actually how to work with a subqueries and etc. So subquery is a query within another query. It can be placed in select from where and having clause of the main query. And the subquery can return one value, or it can return a list, or it can return as a virtual table. So let me give you an example of one value. Suppose that I want to know who received above average grade on assignment 2. So I need to have a subquery that will calculate that will return what an average grade is, right? I'm gonna have a subquery that calculates the assignment 2 average grade. And I will put the subquery in my where clause, right? Because I want to see, I'm going to list students in your session and I'm going to say where, right? The grade that the student obtained in assignment 2 is greater than, and then I'm going to have a subquery that selects what the average grade, right? Values list, example. I want to see who in this class took the same course as I did. So I was a student in the UMGC. Are there any students here who took at least one course that I did, right? So how would you do it? You would need to write a subquery that picks up a list of courses that I took, right? And then you would need to write the main query and to check if the course that you took is on a list of the courses that I took, right? So you have a subquery that's going to return the list, right? List of courses that I took, and you use it to compare against. Or here you can have a virtual table. Like I was showing you before, you have several options here. You can do straight the sum, or you can do, well, sometimes you can have like inner select statement, returns multiple columns, multiple rows. It does a bit complex calculations, perhaps, right? And you're selecting from it. In theory, if you have something this complex that I just showed you, And if you're doing it a lot, you would probably want to create a view and select from the view. Well, okay. But, well, it's a, if you have a subquery in a from clause, it's more like a virtual table, right? But for the where and having clause, more likely it's going to be a query, a subquery returns one view or a list, okay? But in examples that I have in here, I will
Yelena, if you want to
yeah,
go back to the
okay,
R Studio,
sure.
let me know. I think the
Figure it out?
connection issue has been resolved.
Ah,
If you want to go back to the R Studio, the
yes,
connection issue appears to be resolved. I'm just pasting a code
in the chat?
in the chat room. So if you can, if you want to
Okay,
pick that up.
okay. But I'm so glad. See, this is what, guys, we were doing now. Oh, but what is the host name? Hold on. Linesh, you tell me what to do because I'm a little bit now trying. Okay, go Control C. Okay, so what do you want me to do?
So just use the text here that I just pasted in the chat room, because it uses little differently. What it needs is in before the DSN driver, it needs the DSN name, which is BLUDB. So just try to add that.
Ah,
Yeah, just before, yeah, before driver. Yes, I think you got that.
Linesh, let's break that down. Hold on. So this is the old stuff. Let's forget about the old
Okay,
stuff.
so that's good. That's
Huh?
good. What you
Wait, do
have,
I keep the old stuff?
yeah, keep it as is, no issues there. Keep it as is.
Okay,
Go to the connection path string, and
okay.
before the driver, you would need to just have BLUDB in quotes right before the driver.
Oh, right before the driver?
Yes,
Okay,
and then a semicolon there.
semicolon.
Semicolon inside the quotes.
Oh, is it double quote?
Yeah, it's a single semicolon. Okay, and then comma. Yeah, then you can
Hold
have a
on,
comma.
Ganesh. Is it correct?
You need a comma after the quote ends, right there before the DSN driver. You need a comma there.
Like this?
Yes,
Is it correct? Oh, is it a single quote and double quotes?
that doesn't matter.
Okay, so should that
You
work
can
now?
now execute this. Try executing this.
Okay. See, that's why I let you like look at it while I was doing the sequel. Otherwise, we would not be using the time productively. Let's see. Ah, fingers crossed. Mm-mm. Did it work for you? Lunesh, have you
Yes, it
tried
did.
it?
Yes, I tried it.
Okay, so what am I doing wrong in here? Something is wrong. Something is still wrong, Lunesh. Sorry. I was trying to follow, but I don't think I followed. My
Okay.
apology.
I think it's the way this whole connection path string has been created, or way we formed it earlier. I just used it from that document.
Okay, but could you send me the whole piece?
Say that again. Say that again, Yelena.
Oh, I have it wrong. I see it. I have it wrong. No, what you sent me is different. I have it wrong. I'm
Yeah,
looking at the text.
database is in caps again. The lowercase BLUDB.
See? Exactly. So
Put that
that's the
again
thing,
in
Lunesh.
caps.
Lunesh, that's the thing. You need to tell me exactly what to do because students will be confused. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Now
sending
I'm
it
your
to you.
student right now. Linesh, I'm your student right now. I'm confused. You need to tell exactly what people need to do. So see this? What is this? I took your code, Linesh, and I'm trying to follow. I'm a student
Yep.
right now, and
Yeah,
I'm trying to
just
follow and I
follow that.
can't.
Yep,
Huh?
follow that. Follow the connection dot text and see what changed in there.
Linesh, I'm your student right now, and I'm not
Let,
following.
hold on, Yelena. I just learned this a minute ago. So you need to
Okay.
just follow what's there in the connection, that text, okay? And I'm just showing you what worked, and it's the same type of parameters that are used. So can you see the parameters? Just read through that once before you say anything. Maybe you'll have to just change the name of the parameters here because you've got host.name. Maybe that needs to be host name. Okay.
That's why I ask you. That's why I ask you for the whole code.
So I have a different code, Elena. So I'm just trying to go through and map
Yeah.
through to your
Yes.
code.
Some no, but
Yes.
I'm asking you for your code. Okay. Now host name exists.
Yes. Same thing
Well,
for your
I'm asking.
code.
Well, the reason I ask because I need a working code. It does not matter that it's connecting to your instance, but I need something that I could do to. I need a working code. See what I'm
Is that
saying?
the port? Is that the port?
Linesh,
PORT.
I ask you to send me the whole thing because I need a working code. I
Okay,
need a
okay.
code
Then
that
you,
is
you keep
working code.
going. You keep going the way you are going then.
I'm
You
confused right
probably are
now.
not
See,
understanding. So let me just get you what you
see.
have
Well,
there
Linesh, if
exactly.
I don't follow, then the students won't. So I can't expect people to follow if I don't follow it myself. So you know, DNS port, right? Hmm? You see this? So you know what? Part of it is doing it. Another part of it, Linesh, is being able to explain. So I that's why I ask you for the whole chunk of the working code. We're not looking at the program one line at a time, right? So I ask you, please give me the whole code blob. And when you say something is working, I have a confidence that I'm gonna go in and put and it will work, but it's not. See, I don't know. Nope. Okay, I'm not gonna play with it anymore. Please send me the whole block of code.
It's not the DNS port. You got it almost there. DSN. See, you got the
Dinesh,
DSN.
could you please send me the whole working code, the whole block? Please send me
I
the whole
think you
block.
almost got it there, Yelena. You got it. You're
Where?
just making this a little more complicated than what it is. So,
Okay,
you
so
can
what?
just go ahead with what you have, except yes, that's all that was needed.
What is the UID? I don't. Oh, okay. Okay, but now I have to kill this. I don't know what to do.
No, you don't have to. You just do run it again. You
I
just run
can't.
the
It's
code
running. You
again.
can't run again.
Okay.
This is why I ask you for the working piece of code that you said it's working. Because we cannot do it while
You
we.
want me to show the screen? It's working. I just
Linesh,
told
hold
you it's
on.
working.
Just send me the code that is working. It's
Yep,
gonna be.
I just told you. You just made the changes there. You have to wait till to kill this, and then once
Okay.
you go back, it will start working.
Okay. I saved the file before. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so what this was doing is this example, it was looking at the values list subquery. So the whole idea here, I want to list the provinces, right? So it's here, it's selecting distinct. We want to list the provinces that don't have at least one positive post, right? So subquery returns the provinces that have at least one positive post, and this is doing not in, right? Not in. But in general, keep in mind that not in is slow if your list is huge, but in this case, it's just few values. So you were fine in here, right? Not in, it returns only few values. So here you're fine. Now in here, this is an example of the virtual table subquery, right? So here, the subquery returns the name, right? This subquery returns the hotel name and the number of positive reviews, right? And then it's taking the average. So in other words, I want to look at an average, how many positive reviews each hotel received, right? Okay. So on average, you want to see how many, you want to see on average how many positive reviews the hotel received. That's what it's doing. Okay, Linesh, now you tell me, but you have to be precise because we cannot waste people's time. Linesh?
You have to just give me a minute to kind of come back here, a few seconds to come back, Elena. I'm on mute. So yeah, just so I think you have exactly what I had, and you can now try to execute it.
Okay. All right. If this does not work, then, you know,
It doesn't work, then we'll have to take this offline.
yes, it does not work. Because you need to give me the whole piece of code that is working, and then I'll take it and compare against mine. Because, well, we don't do patching like this. You need to have the whole piece of code that is working, and then I could take that and compare. I'm sure something is wrong in here. See, DNS driver, this is wrong. Something is wrong here. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that it's not working because I needed to have the whole working blob of code. It does not matter if I would be connecting to your instance, but I needed to show people something that, hey, you take this and bang, it works. You know what I'm saying? Because if it does not work for me, then it does not work, it's not gonna work for Catherine. If I could not figure out as a TA, Catherine won't be able to figure out. And another student who submitted, there were 3 students at least who submitted the case. I mean, see, if I could not figure out, then I cannot make them figure it out. And if something like this happens, then I'm gonna take the case number and give it to instructor.
Elena, we'll
Let
have to
them know.
work this. We have to work this offline because there's some a discrepancy between the code that you have, and we're just figuring it here.
So I'm
On
telling you,
real
give me
time.
your code.
So we'll
Okay,
have to
give me
take
your
this
code.
offline. That's all I'm
Just
saying.
give me your code, Linus. Just give me your code. What's the problem?
Yeah, because there's some discrepancy here. So let's take it offline because
Okay.
it's not working out this way. That's all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
but then I cannot show R. Okay. 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 Let's look at the
And
SQL.
that's what Professor
Linus, would you
Elena said
please
yes
email me?
earlier, right? That we
Email
have
me
to, if
the
we have
whole
not
code. Just
done this, then we have to take this later on offline.
yeah,
And
but
that
could you
this is the
email
piece
me
that
the
we'll
whole
not be able
code?
to show.
Could you email me the whole code, please? Email me the whole code. Email me everything from the beginning to the end. Okay. Now this is a single value subquery, right? So here the idea is this: hotels with above average number of positive posts, right? So here, what it's doing is that I have a subquery in here. This is a little bit different because in here, I just wanted to know the average number of positive posts per hotel, right? I did not care which hotels are involved. So here I'm doing the hotel name and I'm counting how many positive posts are in that hotel. Okay, I'm counting how many positive posts are in that hotel, and see this subquery returns this little table. Then this guy here returns this count 25, and now I'm taking it further. I'm adding this piece. I'm adding that query that you saw on this slide into the as a subquery. See this having. Right? What this will do is that it will give me the hotel name, right? And it's gonna give me the number of uh, positive count, the positive count, right? And it's only gonna list the hotels that have more than 25, right? It's gonna see, it's gonna take, see this subquery return 25, right? So this is the average number of positive posts per hotel. And here I'm using this in a having clause to limit the hotels that I see, okay? So this was on subqueries. And the interface change, based on the interface change, oops, now it timed out. I need to go back and I need to relaunch my service. So this is gonna go to here. I'm gonna go to UI, right? Let's see. in here, well, this is a new interface, right? In this new interface, to run queries, you will do this. You're gonna go to the SQL and you're gonna do create new, right? And this is how you would open the new script. And then you're just gonna go and you're gonna paste your code, right? And you're gonna just run this, right? So I'm gonna do, let's see, oops. I have some of the code in here. So this is, and Linesh, I'm looking forward to your email, please. Okay, so I'll do this and I'm gonna do run all. Well, run all is gonna run me all queries by default, but I have just one. Well, see this? It ran, right? But not now. I need to see the output. Let's see what's going on. Run statement. I'm trying to run it again. Oh, it did not return anything. Okay, now I have to, let's do this. Let's try this. And what I'll have to do, this is my homework. I have to take the data set for assignment 3 and see if it uploads in this new interface. Okay, so this is the result set. See this, there is something is wrong because it loaded only one row. So there is something wrong with how hotel review is uploaded because see this, the count returns 1. So now I know there is something wrong. Let's try to do airline sentiment. Underscore sentiment. Okay, so let's see what it does. Run selected. Oh, no. So see this is a number of rows in the airline sentiment. Oh, I see what 1 is. Okay, let me explain to you what 1 is. See, this is a count star. I did not name the column. So when you don't specify the column name, it's gonna name it for you. It's gonna say 1. So let's do this. Rows, okay. So this will make sense, make more sense. So this is a column alias. This is an alias. When I just do this, run selected. Okay, so this is a number of rows. And let's see what's gonna happen when I do review, right? Okay, but if you guys did your assignment, okay, see, so there is an error with the load. Okay, but if you guys did your assignment, you know what I can say, early bird gets the worm, huh? You don't need to deal with, well, you still have to learn the new interface for the next assignment. See this, it did not work. See this, rows loaded, so something went wrong. And then I would have to look at this warning. Okay, I would have to look at this warning. Okay, and this is what I will do as a homework assignment. Right, I'm gonna look at it. But what I do know is that in earlier versions of the data, there were special characters. It does not like when your comments contain the new line character. So what I had to do before was I opened up the file in Excel and I did global search, right? In Excel, when you do the search, and if you type you hold Control key and type the J, so this is and then you do the search, you search for all the new line characters. The new line character is a Control J, and I did a search and I get rid of all of the new line characters. Okay, so Yelinesh, have you had a chance to send me the code? Linesh? I did not receive
No,
an
no,
email.
we'll have to take this offline. I'm testing it, really starting it again.
Oh, so
So
it's not
I'm not,
working. Okay. No, but
yeah,
I
we'll have
wanted
to
to
just
see, I
check it.
needed
I
to
have to
see
test
R.
if it's reproducible. Okay. So
What's
we'll have to take this
reproducible?
offline and let's
Okay.
not try to solve it here.
Okay, no problem. Because I wanted to show some stuff in R. Okay, let's do it conceptually. Okay, let's do it conceptually. I was talking about the network of terms before. So you've got this code that produces network of terms. Okay, let's do this. Let me connect to my old service. Let's do this here. This is airline sentiment, other script. This will connect to my old service. So do not tell that, oh yeah, it works. It does not, but what I'm doing right now, guys, for a second, let me connect to my old service. This is the old one, okay? That one should still work because this is old. Okay, so here, well, this one is just loading the number of rows, right? So now let's take a look at the code that applies. This one doesn't apply. Now what we are doing in here is this. No, you notice that the airline sentiment table has column that's called positive negative reason. So that tells kind of like why the tweet had a negative sentiment, right? But there is no such a thing as a positive reason. So what this guy is doing in here, it's pulling tweets here. Well, see this, we are pulling the tweets where the sentiment is positive, right? And here we're doing some text pre-processing. I'm not gonna look at the inspect, but I'm just gonna run this, right? So it's doing all of this pre-processing, blah, 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 right? And it's doing this. Well, don't worry about the warnings, those are just warnings, okay? Now, I'm not gonna do the previews. Well, this one is, okay, I'm gonna skip this. I'm trying to get to the point where we are doing, here it is. So this is the eye graph, right? Okay. Now notice that some of these messages, they're not the arrows, that's just informative. Okay. So now, so this is a adjacency matrix, right? So let's close this one. Here I'm just building the graph, but you might be wondering here, how do I interpret these things? Yes. So this is a network of terms. Oh, I skipped very important code where I had to reset the margins. There is a line of code in here. Oh, this one where I reset the plot margins. Okay. This one is to reset the margins. So that way, when I do the plot, it looks a little bit more readable. Okay. So this is the airlines. Now you might be wondering this, how in the world am I going to interpret it, right? And I admit that you cannot. I admit that you cannot because what you'll need to do is this. You needed to add another code from that slide where you identifying the subset, the maximal subset of terms. What I mean maximal is that that subset does not fall into it does not fall into another group of terms, right? What this will do is, this is CL, and this is going to show you the see this, so those are the maximal subsets of terms, right? So I have these three sets, and what this returns is a list, right? It's a list, and what we want to do probably, so now you see this, right? Those are the maximal subsets of terms that appear together, and you kind of have a way to interpret it. Like for example, Southwest Airlines, probably they had a nice customer service, right? Of some great flights, something like that, so you can see. Okay, you can see which terms appear together. This one, I'm just looking at the maximal, but you can also look at the clicks of the specific size, right? And you can do, if you run the links function in it, you're gonna see how many you have, because depending on the data selection criteria, right, you may have more than three. And now what it's doing in here, it's a visualization here. So take this code here. Well, here, this is just the defining, well, it just defining the vertex, it's just defining the color, okay? So it's gonna loop through all of the elements of this, and it's gonna set the colors. And then I'm gonna do this. And what I said is that I want to mark, okay, but Remember this, some of it relies on the random number generation. So each time when you rerun it, it's going to look slightly different, right? So to make this visualization reproducible, remember from data 630, you would need to set seed. You can do the set seed to make it reproducible, but you see this, there are kind of like 3 sets of terms, and you have like a little shape on which all of these terms lie, if you will, right? And you could try different layouts if it's not readable, and you could try adjusting the text size and etc. But if you do a network of terms, you need to do this, okay? I thought this was in reading, but I figured out what's going on. So I'm giving you this little code, right? And I believe in this code, I had something like, oh, I believe this is a clustering thing here. This one will remove sparse term. This one will calculate the distances. And I think I had to load the, let's see what if it's gonna work. Oh, it's because I have to load the, there is a package in here that called the clustering, something like that. I had to load that package in memory too, because I did not do this. It's probably this. Let's see if that does it now. But what is this is, this is a clustering method, okay? I can give you that code too. Well, you're gonna be doing, you have an option to do k-means clustering, right? But if you do that, you would need to look at the elbow method to determine the better k value, okay? So this is the elbow method. Do you remember from the other course when you have the elbow method and you're looking at where the bending happens, right? So this is the you do the betweenness and withinness, right? You're looking at the distances within clusters, right? Cluster center and the terms in that cluster, and also the between, right? Remember? Well, if you're doing this, if you're doing k-means clustering, you have to do the elbow method. But this is a clustering code that goes for this. It's not in your assignment script, but because of the inconvenience that you went through today, just to sort of like mitigate the impact of the inconvenience, I'm gonna give you the clustering code, okay? And I'm gonna give you, you have these 2 lines of the, what do you call this? This one. And Dinesh and myself, we're gonna check, we're gonna make sure how to get this connection working. Linesh, would you like to meet after this? Linesh?
Yes, I'm on mute. I'm coming back
So
off
did you
mute.
get it work? Did you get it
So
work?
now once I get it working, I'll let you know. I'll email it to you, Yelena, because it worked and doesn't reproduce the same way every
Huh?
time. So I have to make sure it works every time before I can say that.
Okay, no problem. So
Yep,
what you're
thanks.
gonna see? Yes, but we need to then have an instructions on how to set up. Okay, I will look into that. But I'm gonna give you this code, guys. I'm gonna give you the code for clustering. So let's do it this way. There's going to be a piece of code that starts from here, this piece, and you're gonna need to take. You will take your code from the sentiment analysis tutorial assignment, and you're gonna add this part here, okay? So this will do the visualization of this term subset, and this is for the clustering, okay? I'm gonna give you that as a gift. And what I'm doing here, just randomly, I'm trying 5 clusters, but you're gonna have to play around, but this is just randomly, that's what I'm doing in here, okay? And it's looking at the positive, it's looking at the positive feedback here, okay? Positive comments, okay? So Linesh, if you would like to share your screen, let me know now, or I could continue with the slides.
No, I did
Okay,
mention it. We'll have to do it offline. Once I get it
okay,
all
no
done,
problem,
then I
no
will
problem.
send it to you by
Yes,
email.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
this will take
yes,
some time, so we're
okay,
not
no
not
problem,
going to do it here.
okay, no problem. But here are some additional tips. You want to post questions, you want to follow instructions, and you're going to go beyond examples. But what I mean is that, okay, association rules, for example, if you're doing it, you need to explore the metrics, because These are not discussed in a walkthrough that you got. And you also have to check, you need to look, well, you need to look at the input parameters and etc., right? If you do k-means clustering, you want to look at the elbow methods, you want to look at additional, you don't want to just take this code and plug in your data to it, okay? Well, this is something to remember. Guys, sorry for this session being a little bit unexpected. We made our best to make through it. Let's see. Elena, are you still here? Elena, are you still here? Elena? Oh, I don't see it. Some people are not here. Oh, Elena, looks like you're on mute. I was gonna check if you were going to say something. Okay, well, Linesh, what should we do next? Because, okay, I don't know. Linesh, anything else you want to say? What should we do from here?
Well, all that I can say right now is we're looking into the connectivity code. So as I said, it worked for me once, and I'm trying to reproduce it. It hangs in between. So I'm looking at that document, and as well as the way that they have shown it, how to connect to it little differently as well. So once I have that package and connectivity working, and maybe Yanana, you may also want to try it your end,
But
then
we
we'll
need to
see
have it
if
as
that
soon as
works.
possible. We have to have
Was that
instructions as soon as possible.
it
Yes.
needs to work, Yelena. I just can't send it right now because I tried to send it and then there was confusion. So
Yeah.
that document is there. That link which is in the chat room, and I'm just using that link to exactly follow that. And it worked the first time. The second time it took little time, and it just hung there. So I had to kill the environment. So I don't want to
Mm.
send something that may not be reproducible and working exactly same time, same way every time.
Okay. Okay. No problem. But I'll have to put it in a way. See, that's the thing. What are the next steps for a student? Exactly. That's what I was trying to get at, Linesh. Okay. Next steps for the student depends on. Okay. Let's look at it this way. You can, guys, look. Let me give you these directions. You can add the service, can't you? You can add DB2, right? You can. You can load the airline sentiment data, right? So how about this? If you work on a SQL part, right? There is a SQL part of the assignment. And also there are 10 ungraded queries that you need to do, but you have to do them because some of the questions are structured the way you can't answer them if you don't do it. Yes. Yes, so you use the instructions provided and you do uh, the interface has changed, but as I showed you, you still have the section where you run the queries, right? You still have the section where you load data. So see this is how you get to SQL. There is no menu over here, but this is SQL. You go in here and you run your queries here, right? So the interface has changed, but you can still do well, you are at the point still where you can go in, you can launch the service, and you can run your queries, right? You're gonna work on your all of your you got ungraded 10 ungraded exercises. You have to do them because otherwise you can't answer a question. You've got the questions. You can do as many as you can that don't require R, right? What else you can do? Well, for R, some questions, one question is where you have to actually run the code, and some of them are theoretical. Okay, exactly what? Okay. So what we don't know, let's look at what we can do. You can do all 10 queries, right? Am I answering your question? Sorry, I'm doing bad with names. I hope I'm answering the question. Right now, you've got 10 queries that you need to do, right? You can work through that because you can launch, you can run SQL. What you cannot do at the moment is R. And we're gonna get to it, we're gonna tell you. But I'll tell you, once you get it, running R is not gonna take that long, okay? Okay, but
Yeah,
trust me.
this is a good challenge, guys. I would tell you that, besides Elena and I working through this, I mean, you have that document for connectivity. You saw what exactly is required, and work with us. Maybe all of us can work together and get through this, right? Because this is all new. You're trying to figure out, and this
Yes,
is exactly what you would do in a working environment, right? Like if you were at
right.
work and get the same problem, what would you do, right? So
And
you have to figure it out.
at some point, this whole assignment had to be figured out, and they were changing the interface. Trust me, how many times? At some point, RStudio was embedded in the DB2. Yes. At some point, RStudio interface was part of the DB2. Then things that we could not do were changing. Like for instance, right now you cannot do visualization if you do a priori rules. If you do association rules, you cannot do visualization right now. At some point it worked, okay? So, well, this is a perfect situation in this course where the instructions are written, but the next day they do an update. It was actually when I TA this course for the first time, I spent the whole weekend preparing the instructions, and before I knew it, in the middle of the week, that version of the service was gone. There was a totally different version, totally different interface. So guys, don't panic, you're not alone. You've got TAs who are helping you. You're spending time figuring out what to do, and we're gonna make the best of it. And if something like this unexpected happened, your instructors are gonna know. Your instructors are not gonna penalize you grade-wise just because something changed and TA could not figure out. More likely, they're gonna create a ticket to add Yelena and Lanesh to the gradebook and give us an F. More likely that's gonna be the scenario, but you need to do what you can. Please promise me that you're gonna work on the SQL part, okay? And the rest of it, we're gonna get back to you and we're gonna have instructions, okay? Are there any further questions? So hopefully you understood the concepts, right? The SQL that I was trying to show, because this is important, okay? SQL is important. And also when you answer the quiz questions, you want to have your output in front of you. Make sure that you did the quiz, right? And also, even if you got above 70% on the first attempt, you may want to try to take it another attempt to see more questions, okay? Because it randomly selects the questions. There is a pool of questions and it selects them randomly. So yes, but it's a fair game. If you see some questions repeating, right? If you see some questions from the auto-graded quiz, if you see some questions reappear on the quiz that you submit for actual grade, it's a fair game, but I never told you that, but it's possible, right? Okay, so should we end the session, Lanesh? Lanesh?
Yes, I think so. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing, guys, and you have a skill part, and look forward to further guidelines, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna stop the recording. Okay, stop recording.